And hello and welcome everyone to the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. As always, I'm your host Joel, coming to you live on this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had a little bit of a snafu before we started there. Matt assuming like, okay, so it's time to go, right? And then I'm like, oh yeah, crap, daylight savings. And Matt's being like, not in my state, not in this part of Australia, son.
Chat is saying that you're silent now. What has Twitch done again?
Oh, god damn it.
God damn. Everything's looking good on my end.
Thanks for the cheers. This literally happened last week, didn't it?
There you go. You're talking now, apparently.
Hey, there you go. That's good. Should I just redo my intro and pretend that the other stuff didn't happen?
I guess so, yeah.
All right, well then, let's wheel it back. Then let's hit the rewind button. And hello and welcome everyone to the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. As always, I am your host, Cape Joel, coming to you no matter the time, whether it's daylight saving time, military time. I'm here, right, Matt?
You're here, because other countries decide to do daylight savings, except for my country. Well, my country does like half of it. Like 3 states do it, whereas my state doesn't.
That's very strange, but also, like, it makes sense because, like, daylight saving time is a stupid antique that people hang on to for no reason, even though it serves no purpose in the modern world.
Yeah, it's for the farmers.
But apparently it's not, though. That's, like, some bullshit. Like, if you ask a farmer about daylight saving time, they'll get really pissed off because they're like, no, I plant at this time, I harvest at this time, it does nothing for me. People are complaining too that my camera is now glitching as we do this show live. Should I try turning it on and off again?
I mean, you can, but it doesn't look like it's glitching to me. It looks perfect for me.
That's weird. I'm looking at the stream right now, and I do look strange for some reason. It's not just covered in schmutz, right? No, it's not covered in schmutz.
Well, it went perfect when you just did that, like, because I just put out the stream, so maybe it was covered in shit.
Maybe it was. Who knows? We'll never know now. Maybe it's like an old RCTV and I had to hit it to make it work. You see, this room is just covered in a fine fog and a fine mist.
It's a layer of film just over everything.
Joel, why is everything here covered in a fine layer of film? I don't know. Please don't tell anyone how I live. But how have you been, Matt?
I've been pretty good. I've been trying to like catch up on all my comics now that I've got like some free time and it's not been happening at all. Yeah. I've like barely scratched the surface, and it doesn't help as well. I've got like Outer Worlds and Modern Warfare sitting there waiting to be played.
Man, so much of my time has gone into the Outer Worlds. That game is just so goddamn addictive. I lose so much time.
It really is. It's just so damn fun.
And thank you to Tevye, if you're watching the live show, who's been filling our cup with his cheers. Always appreciated. But yeah, so much time into the Outer Worlds. Like, I literally had to stop myself to be like, no. Had a light week in comics this week. You might actually be able to catch up and do a different kind of video if I can. So that's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that as well and just catch up on a lot of the comics. And I've got a little bit, but there's still heaps to go. And I, of course, got Modern Warfare and finished the campaign on that, which I surprisingly enjoyed.
So I've heard it's actually a pretty good campaign, but it's Infinity Ward, and they always do the better campaigns of all the different companies, I think.
Yeah.
What else? Ooh, I caught up on some movies. I watched Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix, that Eddie Murphy movie based on the life of Rudy Ray Moore. It was good. It was very, very interesting. I think my favorite joke about it, and I mentioned this on Twitter, is the most understated joke. And it's kind of a running gag where in the world of comedy, they say, Rudy Ray Moore, you're no Bill Cosby, you'll never make it. And in the world of movies, you're no Roman Polanski, you'll never make it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, the guy who played this vulgar caricature of a pimp actually ended up being way more wholesome than all the supposedly wholesome establishment people that he was railing against.
Yeah, the little parts in it where they mention like Bill Cosby and all that. I'm like, I see what they're doing there.
Strangely, too, he even calls out Red Fox and says Red Fox actually sold out because, Red Fox was afraid to be too dirty. And I'm like, really? I've never heard a movie flip off Red Fox in the world of comedy. Really? Jeez.
Thank you again, Tevye, for hosting us.
It's a hell of a thing. But yeah, Dolomite is my name. Really funny. A real movie for people who make movies. Like, I feel like you could show that in an audio-visual class, because it's all about, like, you know, betting on yourself and maxing out your credit cards. It's almost like a spiritual sibling to something like Clerks, actually.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, it's like, modern-day Clerks, which is ironic because it's set in the past.
Yeah, and so much of the story is real. Like, Rudy Ray Moore did live in the Dunbar Hotel. Yeah, he actually did, like, just pick up people off the street and be like, hey, you want to be in my movie?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really good... And also it reminds you, too, Eddie Murphy can act, and Eddie Murphy is really talented sometimes.
He can be very funny when he's given the right material or left to do his own material.
When he gives a shit, and you could tell, like, this is something he actually really cared about, because it's like, oh yes, I see a lot of the same DNA in Rudy Ray Moore's old comedy records that you do in, like, Raw and Delirious and everything else.
Yeah, you could see where that inspiration for him came from.
Definitely. And so what else did you do this week, Matt? Anything of note outside comics? Just catching up?
Yeah, catching up on TV shows, stuff like that. And have we talked about Watchmen last week?
No, and I still haven't seen it yet. I have it saved, and I'm gonna watch it, but I haven't yet. I think the fact too, I get like this sometimes where it's like, Joel, what do you think about this? Joel, have you seen this? Joel, you need to talk about this. And I'm like, well, the more people tell me to see it, the less I want to do it, because I got to rail against authority even when that authority is my fans.
It's shot nicely, but I keep saying, it's like, why is this being made? Like, why? And as well, the story's like you look at the original Watchmen, and it was like a deconstruction of superheroes and all that sort of stuff, and kind of a parody in a way of that sort of stuff. None of that is, like, present in this show.
So it's like the Watchmen movie.
It basically just goes, it just basically goes the other way, where we're going to start getting into, like, politics, where the cops wear masks, and the Rorschach mask is like the new KKK hood and all that sort of stuff. And
fitting.
Yeah, fitting. And of course people are mad at that.
To where it's like, okay, well, it's nice to know the people who are mad at this totally didn't understand Rorschach's character from the original.
Yeah, he's cool. He wears a coat and a trilby hat, and he's awesome. Yeah. It's like, no, he's a terrible human being.
You know, it's people who loved Rorschach that why Alan Moore went into his cave and never came out again.
Yeah, even he hates the character.
Yes, he does. And the fact that people love the character and misinterpret his work drives him insane. Yeah. Remember Rorschach 2? Remember him from, what is it, that DC story that hasn't finished yet?
Doomsday Clock.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, Matt, because I literally couldn't find the name.
You couldn't remember.
It was gone. I was going to call it DC Clock, and I'm like, that's not it.
It basically is just DC Clock.
DC Clock, and I'm like, well, that name's not coming back. But yeah, remember him? Remember what a big deal they had about Rorschach 2? And to where it's like, well, look, we can't have the original Rorschach because he's literally a monster and totally isn't someone who, you know, you can actually write as a protagonist. And, he died. And he died. That also helps. So let's try and, you know, reinvent the character and reinvigorize it because, you know, hey, for better or worse, Rorschach is one of the major faces of Watchmen. And, you know, we want to sell Rorschach action figures and T-shirts and everything. And we can't do that with a murderous homophobe. I mean, you could, but you'd get some sideways looks.
Yeah.
But, I guess with that out of the way, we will talk about Watchmen when I have the chance to see it. But again, man, I am just swamped with entertainment right now. We are really in the midst. We are on the eve of the app Cold Wars, Matt, and we're going to talk about that. And there is just too much goddamn entertainment.
Oh, God, is there ever?
I haven't finished
No one will ever
yet.
be bored. That's the thing.
No. And maybe that's part of the plan where it's like, look, we just got to keep people bogged down in entertainment for as long as possible. And then, you know, step 2, profit. Yeah, I still haven't even finished The Boys yet. I was like the halfway point. I'm like, oh, this is good. And then, you know, I got caught up watching BoJack Horseman and everything else. And I just never got to finish it. Dragon Prince comes back this month as well.
Oh, jeez.
That's a good show, especially if you liked Avatar: The Last Airbender. You should check that out.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
It is really good. It's cool what they do with CG animation, where they kind of like blur the lines between traditional hand-drawn stuff and CGI, especially if you like Resistance and if you liked Rebels, the Star Wars thing. They do kind of the same thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, I guess with that out of the way, we can actually hop into the news this week. And there was a nice little smattering from all the different companies and all of our favorite places.
There was.
Yeah, I guess to kick things off here, it was finally announced, to much fanfare, when we're going to be getting Spider-Verse 2, and it's slated for 2022.
Yeah, and we got a nice little trailer that maybe gives some hints about which Spider people might be in the film, or might be added to the film.
Possibly, if you slow it down a little bit, you can see a bunch of other prospective Spider logos.
Yeah, I think people were like pointing out that there might be like a zombie Spider-Man or something, and I think Gwen's logo's back in there, so she's gonna get. Wasn't she meant to be getting like a solo film?
So I heard that was like that Project Glass Ceiling that they've been working on forever, that they wanted to spin the Spider Women off into their own thing.
Yeah.
But then again, Sony's all over the place right now with what's happening, so who even knows?
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, Tevye is hoping for Mayday Parker. Well, if there was any movie she was going to show up in, it was going to be this one.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. People in the chat, too, are saying the Japanese Spider-Man logo was there. Ooh. Spider-Man 2099, naturally.
Is the Japanese one the one with the, what's the robot called? Leopardron? The Sentai?
Oh, yeah, Leopard. The Sentai one, or are we just getting the Spider Met Girl again? I don't know. Could go either way.
I'd like them both.
Same. It'd be fun to see them interact, where it's like, oh, you have a robot, too. Yes, I have a giant robot. I mean, it's not a contest or anything, but my robot's bigger than your robot. Mine's twice the size that yours is.
It's funny when you did that, your camera glitched, so it looked like you were roboting out. You might just want to rub it again.
Yeah, really. What the... Again, do I just gotta tap it? Like,
and it did it again. It did, like, completely fixed it.
Amazing. You know, it's like I streamed the other night, Matt, myself for the first time in a long time, and I did not have this problem.
I don't know what it is.
Man, this is a fun episode, everyone. This is what you can see when you watch live. But yeah, very excited for this. I'm glad, too, that people kind of understood where it's like, yeah, 2022, animation takes a long time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's why you're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah, people were saying that, oh, it could happen next year. And I'm like, no, that's way too soon. And it's like, no, especially 2-3 years, basically.
Especially, did you see the movie? It looks beautiful, mm-hmm. and that took artists like years of their lives to put together.
It took a long time. I imagine the second one might be a bit faster because they've already got that workflow and like systems set up for it. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what they'll do, like what new things they'll add into the film in terms of like breakthrough animation and stuff.
Also, thematically, where do you think the story's going to go from here? Because the first one was all about Miles, you know, growing into his role of the Spider-Man of his universe and realizing that there's multiple universes with multiple different Spider people. How do you think we're going to take that to the next level?
You know, I think I'd like a time jump, like a little bit of a time jump where Miles has been Spider-Man for, I say, do it real time, so like 3 or 4 years. Yeah. And yeah, then there'll be like some big threat that requires the Spider people to get back together. Bring in the Inheritors or something.
Everyone is thinking like it's got to be Morlun, it's got to be the Inheritors, which a lot of people don't like the Inheritors, but I'm fine with them being in the movie because I'm sure they would put an interesting spin on them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. They'll make them actually even more interesting, like how they made the Prowler interesting.
That's true. I mean, I guess it's just got to be like, okay, what's another threat to justify all of these Spider people getting back together? And again, an evil family of semi-incestual aristocrats hunting Spider people across the universe. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I'm down with that. That's pretty good. That means, too, you could even have Spider people show up literally just to die, just to put over how strong the new villains are.
Yeah.
And again, I hope it continues to be funny and self-aware, and maybe, just maybe, this one will, you know, poke some fun at the, you know, kerfuffle between Sony Spider-Man and Disney Spider-Man and the future of all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, my camera looks to be doing that shit again. What is even
again.
that? What is? God damn it! Again, does that mean like I got like a bad connection or something?
You got like a little hair in the USB connection or something.
Or some shit, I don't know. Again, I streamed last night and it was fine. I don't know what the fuck the problem is. That's so goddamn weird. Someone else said Mysterio. That might be interesting, but maybe too close to his live action counterpart.
Yeah, I imagine like we might like get them as like these are heroes Miles fought sort of thing.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that. What else do we got going on here? HBO Max is entering the app war. As I mentioned before, we are on the eve of the great app Cold War, Matt. You will tell your grandchildren where you were when Disney Plus took San Juan Hill and Amazon Prime was there.
And the age of subscription rationing and...
Yeah, the great subscription ration. You know, when I was your age, we had to get our pennies together to put into PayPal so we could get just a little bit more Netflix to get us through the long winter. I will fully admit, I had heard about this HBO Max thing and I really wasn't that interested in it, and I really didn't care as a comic book channel because really the only thing we heard is like, oh, it might be getting those DC Universe shows. And I'm like, okay, so, if you don't want to pay for the DC Universe app, you can have this. But some big news came down the pipeline involving HBO and superhero stuff and nerdy stuff that I was really not expecting.
Yeah, they said they were going to release the Snyder Cut because that will make them billions. And no, they didn't say that because they were smart.
Yeah, what alternate universe were you in, Matt?
Oh, the Hell World, that Omega universe.
Tell me about it. But so HBO Max threw their hat in the ring, and apparently they have struck a very considerable deal with DC and Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be getting a bunch of new original DC content for HBO Max that seemingly you can't see anywhere else. One of those is the long, well, I was going to say awaited, but like long assumed Greg Berlanti Green Lantern follow-up.
Yeah, so what was interesting about this is they didn't obviously say this is what that Green Lantern Corps movie turned into, although I'm pretty sure this is what it turned into. But as well, they said they didn't say it's Green Lantern, they said it's Green Lantern inspired. Which like confuses the hell out of me. What does that mean?
Yeah, is it going to be like that teen lantern, or is it going to be like one of these other newer lanterns? I imagine they're not going to do Hal Jordan because they probably still want to keep him primed for that movie universe if that ever happens.
Yeah. I have to imagine it's probably going to be something like, oh, these are like tales from the Green Lantern Corps or something, or maybe an anthology show, which would be pretty cool. I'd like to every episode being a different lantern. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I mean, that's always been the problem about Green Lantern as a property, where it's like, oh, so it's this vast, amazing core with all these colorful characters from all over the universe, and yet we're following fucking Crew Cut over here?
Yeah, Joe fucking Sixpack from America, who's always on Earth.
Always. Well, most of the time, except for when he's not. But yeah, it's like literally, here's this amazing Green Lantern Corps, now follow arguably the most boring one, Hal Jordan. And that's always been the problem. It's like, but Hal Jordan sells, though, so even though we have all these other lanterns people like more, we can't give you Jon Stewart or Kyle Rayner or even Guy. Only in small doses. But yeah, if it was like a core show, and, it was like, it's like The Wire, but for Green Lantern, where it's like, here, the city of millions, the city of Oa, here's all the people who are on it.
Yeah, or do like a True Detective type show.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
But this is Greg Berlanti, so yeah, he's had one crack at it before.
Which, you know what, I like, there would be a time not too long ago where that would drive me insane, the idea of like, oh fuck, they're letting Greg Berlanti touch Green Lantern again. But honestly, after all the hard work he's put in on television and everything else, and really trying to redeem himself for that bad Green Lantern movie, I actually kind of like this idea of cosmic karma, where he gets to maybe, make up for the sins of the past.
Maybe get another turn to do it.
Yeah, really, because, like, you could almost write a movie about that, where it's like, and then I tried so hard to get to do Green Lantern again. And maybe it'll suck again, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it will.
That would be the greatest punchline ever. He does it again after all these years, and it sucks. And he just makes the same mistake all over again.
Yeah, it's just the same thing over again. The whole suit is CGI. We're gonna do it all in camera. It's gonna have a Taika Waititi play the best friend. And
oh no, I took all these names from Green Lantern comic books and just threw them into a script generator. Nothing means anything, but here's words you might remember.
Parallax is a diarrhea cloud.
Is a fucking cloud again. Voiced by Clancy Brown again, so we're going to waste him. We'll also introduce Amanda Waller and then maybe kill her off, too. There's a lot of dumb things we can do about it, but we got that. Apparently another space show in Adam Strange.
Yeah, that's that animated one where, again, that's like an anthology show where each episode is like something different in the DC universe, like Bizarro and Adam Strange and all those sorts of stuff.
Which makes sense, because, I like Adam Strange, but I certainly don't think he's strong enough to hold up a whole series on his own, even though DC seems to be giving him a stealth push right now, because he's getting this show, potentially, and that Tom King miniseries that's being written about him.
Yeah, and he was just the main character on Krypton.
Oh, yeah, and also that. I totally forgot about Krypton. Can you believe that Krypton got canceled, but fucking Pennyworth is getting a second season?
Fuck that, man. Fucking Pennyworth.
As if you needed another reminder that life is cruel and the bad guys win and the good guys lose all the time. Just let that sink in for a little bit. And then another project called Hero High, which, I think that sounds fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's been made by Elizabeth Banks, and yeah, it's superheroes in high school, because that's what people want now, apparently.
X-Men did it forever. It can work. It's definitely not a completely bankrupt concept. Depending on how you spin it.
I did, like, when I heard that was coming, I did get flashbacks of that god-awful show they made, Powerless.
Ooh.
I just, like, for a second, I'm like, oh god, this is like Powerless. Oh no.
That was Brian Michael Bendis' baby, Matt. That was going to bring him into Hollywood once and for all and make him a big deal, and they were going to adapt all his other things. But apparently not. It's funny, the whole young heroes in a high school setting. I always kind of consider that to be more a Marvel shtick than a DC shtick.
Because they got like Spider-Man and like Kamala Khan and all these younger heroes that are actually in school, where it's like, and you actually see that in the comics where, DC, like, you've got the Teen Titans, but they're, like, running Guantanamo Bay and stuff.
Yeah,
not going to school.
No, we'll bury the Teen Titans whenever we get the chance to do so. As Tevye brings up, isn't that already a cartoon, that DC superhero girl thing? Yeah, which is apparently quite popular, and they sell a lot of toys out that one. But this sounds like more of a live-action project, so... Okay.
It'll be like that... What's that show, like... all the girls watch, goddamn, it's a comic, it's Riverdale or whatever, that Archie thing, that's not really Archie, it's just using the name.
No, we just took the name. Yeah, shit, if they can make Archie into a weird hit, I'm sure they'll do the same here. And as someone said, technically, Riverdale is DC in a weird roundabout way. Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, sorta.
Yeah, kinda, sorta. Yeah, I forgot about that with weird publishing things, but... Yeah, so some other interesting stuff they mentioned for HBO Max is obviously you'll get every HBO show ever under the sun.
What was really... Someone actually did the numbers on this. They will have more DC films than the actual DC app.
Wow. Again, if you ever needed another reason to not get the DC Universe app.
Seriously, this sounded like... And it's funny because they had to come out and say, like, this doesn't mean that DC app's going away. And it's like, well, it kind of does mean that, because, like, you've just kind of put everything except the comics up on this other app that you own as well, which doesn't make any sense for me.
No, it doesn't. Some other big hitters they got all of South Park, all of Sesame Street. They got all of the Looney Tunes cartoons, which, again, is a big Warner Brothers thing. And I'm like, oh, man, that's actually really good, because those, like, Looney Tunes cartoons are hard to find unless you buy the expensive, like, Blu-ray sets.
Yeah, the big sets that are really limited in numbers.
Yes, and hard to find and worth a lot of money. But, man, I would love to go back and watch some of those classic Looney Tunes bits there. What is it? It's Opera Doc and all those other really great ones, just to even show people to be like, yo, look at this shit.
Yeah, there's lots of really cool stuff in there. The only thing is, it's again, like the DC app, only being released in America so far. Because of course, if Disney can manage to release it worldwide within a couple of weeks of each other, I'm sure like WB could.
You would think so, but apparently not. And again, I kind of feel like this the same way I feel about the DC Universe app, where it's like, well, there was no rumblings about this before, and now it kind of sounds like you're rushing into it and just grabbing everything you can for it.
Again, like the DC app.
Like, who has a big app like this in 2019 and doesn't plan to release it in other markets?
I know, it's so weird. I could understand if it was like a really niche app. Like here in Australia, we have an Australian streaming service, and it's full of like Australian stuff. I can understand why that's only in Australia, because it's full of Australian-made productions and stuff like that. Could branch out, but I understand that. But like something like HBO, where we get HBO here and all their stuff, so like why isn't it being released here or in Canada or the UK, stuff like that?
The chat has a funny one there saying, wouldn't it be hilarious to find out that all this new streaming app stuff is just because all these companies secretly bought up VPN services, so people have to pay for the good VPNs?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, that sounds like an article we're going to read like 2 years from now. It's like, did you know all these multimedia companies actually had secret states and all these VPN companies because they knew people were just going to do it anyway?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, I was planning on doing it with Disney Plus, but they're releasing it like a week later. So
yeah,
I don't need to.
Yeah, I think Canada's on the same timetable.
Yeah.
Although I really hate the idea of having to buy another streaming service, because, again, this year is the first year I started paying for my own Netflix and not just leeching off the family plan.
Well, I cancelled one of mine recently, and I'm going to put that money that I would usually pay for that into Disney+.
Because I'm a man, I'm my own man. I can pay for my own Netflix, Mom. But yeah, to where it's like, do I really want to pay for the Disney Plus one, even though it is admittedly much cheaper at $9.99?
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty solid. You know what I need to do? I still haven't done my taxes yet for last year. I need to go talk to my tax person and be like, look, so I work online, I work in entertainment. Can I write these off? Because if so, I will get it. But only then can I write these off.
You just got to make sure you don't write off too much.
Yeah. As the chat mentions in the price point, too, HBO Max will be $15. So, basically... That's
pretty expensive.
It is. That's Netflix prices there for, the unlimited everything.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's... in this age of consumption entertainment, it doesn't sound like much, but it adds up over time.
Oh, yeah. That's like a month. That adds up to, it was $30 every 2 months. $90 every 4 months. It adds up.
Oh yeah, it really does. Again, we're not the first people to say it, and I know we mention it all the time. Where it's like, okay, so we're officially back in the age of cable packages. We have now actively gone back in time.
Yeah, the cable packages, but now they're offered online.
Amazing. We had a beautiful thing once streaming, and now we've gone back in time. And again, this leads to a horrible, dark, dystopian future where it's just like, won't all these companies just fuse together so I can only pay for one thing? And the companies are like, yes, we will fuse together. Is that what we will? You gotta change the law and call your congressperson, but we'll happily fuse together for you. To make your TV nice and easy. And tell you what, once we do that, you can just come work for us at our company store, and we'll just take that off the thing over. How's that sound?
No breaks. You'll have to pee in bottles.
But it'll be fine. Again, you'll have all your entertainment in one place. Won't that be nice? Won't it be nice? And then we'll officially just be in the outer worlds.
Yeah, we'll just be all run by... We'll have colonies run by companies and conglomerates and eat sole tuna and really shitty products that give us AIDS and shit.
And instead of saying hello, we'll say the company jingle. Is what we'll do. Someone else saying too, why pay $15 a month for HBO Max when you could just pay 3 streamers you love directly for their work? I agree, sir. This guy has good ideas.
Yes. Exactly.
Everyone listen to them.
People who actually give you good content on a regular basis.
Out of the goodness of our hearts. I mean their hearts. I mean hearts. But no, for real, man, you want to talk about too much entertainment? We are adding to that problem, too. We are just too entertaining, man.
Yeah, we're going to... The Comic Multiverse Max Plus. It'll be a new streaming service available everywhere. You know, $8 a month. We'll have everything.
You get the whole back catalog.
Yeah, we'll have everything.
You get the back catalog of everything we've ever done. You get the spy cams of us 24 hours a day. You get that 8-hour cam to watch us sleep at night. Full Truman Show. You can just keep it on in the background for comfort.
Yeah, toilet cam is extra.
Naturally. That's the gold membership. Also, who am I kidding? I don't sleep 8 hours a night. I wish I did.
The perfect world.
That's blatant false advertisement. He doesn't sleep 8 hours. But yeah, so that's HBO Max. It's interesting. You know, I can only assume these things will all have trial periods. Like, you can get like a month free.
Yeah, or a 7-day free trial, yeah.
Because I would like to at least say I tried all of these.
Yeah.
To see which one is the right for me and my family. And again, most of them are coming to the PlayStation 2, which is my, entertainment hub anyway.
Yeah.
So, that's
again, that's another thing with that Disney Plus app. It's got a PlayStation app, whereas the DC app doesn't.
So fucking weird.
Yeah. You might want to rub your camera again. It's glitching out.
Okay. Why are you doing this?
What is it doing?
We are trying to have a nice show, camera. What the fuck?
I'm gonna put one of that Simpsons technical difficulties in when it does it to you.
Oh, that's good. I appreciate that, Matt. That's always good. Is this because I tried to stream WWE 2K20 and it's a
paying you back?
Face?
It's like, this is what you look like. Me.
Has it spread to my camera? Again, too, I was doing that last night and didn't have a single problem. What the hell has changed in this time? What the fuck?
It's
Everyone's saying I'm Two-Faced now.
It's Skynet. It's taken over. It's not Skynet, it's Legion now.
Legion. We are Legion, for we are many. And again, because I'm watching this back in time too, I'm seeing myself try and fix it, but then seeing it fuck up again, and I don't know whether I'm good or not because it's on a delay.
It's funny, you moving your hand in front of the camera like briefly fixed it just then. There, fixed it. It's like perfect now.
This is some old bullshit. I'm not happy. I'm sad, Joel. Sad dog. All right, I guess let's move on to the next story while Matt puts the hang in there kitty and everything else in my box. After these messages, we'll be right back. Here's some interesting stuff from the world of Star Wars, and I feel Matt, as always, as the Star Wars czar on the show, you can probably elaborate better than I ever could, but D&D, the two showrunner, creators, whatevers you want to call it, of Game of Thrones, it was announced this week that they are off their brand new Star Wars project.
Yeah, and thank God.
And nothing of value was lost.
Yeah, so after these guys ruined Game of Thrones in the end there, they got kicked off. And it's even funny, like they said, lots of news came out saying it's like, oh no, they've been off like for a while. We just didn't have a right time to like announce that they're off and all that sort of stuff. But like the timing couldn't be better because it came just after they did like a train wreck of a panel discussion at some Comic-Con or film festival or something, where they basically said, oh yeah, like Game of Thrones was just like our like really expensive film school, and we didn't know what the fuck we were doing, and we were just like learning on the fly, and we basically conned HBO and everything. And I'm like, wow, it's like they really don't want to work again.
No, it's like everything you could say wrong, they said it, and every bad thing that you had theorized about them was ultimately confirmed, and it's not like this leaked out. They said it into microphones.
There's people like with video footage and like transcripts and everything of what they said.
It's not every day you get to watch two men commit career seppuku in front of your very eyes, because that's what it is. And let's face it, I think we all thought the same thing when they bumblefucked the ending of the biggest show in decades, to where no one was happy. And it's like, oh boy, and they got what coming up? Oh, they got a Star Wars project coming up and a prequel. Well, I feel the sand in the hourglass is ticking down on that one, but let's let time decide, and time decided.
Yeah. It always, time decided, and they decided for themselves as well. They're like, fuck this.
And of course, as with anything Star Wars related, you have all the conspiracy theory mongers out there. It's like, oh, this is because of Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy and Hillary Clinton somehow. This was all their fault.
Yes, it was all their fault. In saying that, though, you've got to like kind of want to, like, because Kathleen Kennedy hired these guys. She also hired Colin Trevorrow, Josh Trank, was it Chris
Lord
Miller, and like she had to let all of them go. She's like, and they were all like hot at the time when they were hired. So is it like a knee jerk thing? And then later they're like, oh, these don't work out very well.
No, I mean, this time I think there's no denying that this was the right choice.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Fans were mad at them, and they admitted, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We never did.
No, again, as well, as they were talking about like how they wanted to make Game of Thrones as less fantasy as possible. Like, they were actively taking out fantasy parts, and it's like, and you were going to give them a Star Wars film, you know, that's set in space about wizards who use lightsabers and giant aliens that look like dogs and shit.
Really the worst thing about these two getting kicked off the Star Wars project, though, is that maybe now they'll have more time to develop that Confederate show that they wanted to do.
They're still doing that because they got that big deal with Netflix, because that was what this was about. Like, they decided to go with Netflix and not Star Wars. I'm like, really?
I don't think they actually are, but as we've seen, these two are committed to truly terrible ideas, so, you know.
Yeah.
So who knows? Look, I'm just saying, in 2019, what people really need and what they really want to see is an alternate history where the South won the Civil War. Dudes. My dudes. Read the room, my dudes. And also, you can see that for free. You just got to drive through certain southern states.
Yeah, you don't need to pay for that.
No, that's not special, my dudes. I mean, good luck to you for your future, but oh man, you guys bumblefucked it hard. And also, too, because, you know, the hits just kept on coming. They're like, yeah, so they're off Star Wars. And also, that Game of Thrones prequel they were supposed to be working on, Robert's Rebellion or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be. The Age of Heroes is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, they apparently they shot the pilot with Naomi Watts and a bunch of other people. And apparently that also had, like, a bunch of problems with it. Again, like the pilot of Game of Thrones, which was all reshot by someone else. Yeah, apparently it had like so many fucking problems with it, and again, like all these things just happened like around the same time, and then they were kicked off the fucking Star Wars films. So you gotta admit there is some coincidence there.
Very much so. And there was like a moment there too where I'm like, oh, does that mean we're just not gonna do any Game of Thrones prequel series at all? Is HBO officially done with this brand? Are they washing their hands of it? No, we're going ahead on another prequel project, actually.
Yeah.
One that doesn't fucking involve these two chowderheads.
Yeah, one called House of the Dragon, which of course is going to be about the Targaryens and everything, and about people like Glitchy Joel at the moment, and...
God fucking damn it. My house is House Glitch.
Yeah, and this should be actually a bit better because it's the guy... what's his name? Miguel Sapochnik or something. He directed a bunch of the episodes of Game of Thrones, like the really good episodes, like The Long Night and all that sort of stuff. He's doing it, and he's partnering. He's going to be the showrunner, I think, along with George R.R. Martin. So it's a little bit closer to the source material, or the future source material, since it's probably not been written.
Right. So I'm going to assume this is going to start with Aegon Targaryen and old Valyria.
Yep.
And probably tell the story of how he came to what would be known as the Seven Kingdoms. And then if the show is popular, we'll have multiple seasons and eventually lead up to Dance of Dragons and the Blackfyre Rebellion and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be like a history of the Targaryen family or something. And we'll eventually reach... And maybe that Robert's Rebellion stuff might roll into this. Like, that'll be like the season finale or something. The series finale or something.
It's a lot of material, that's for sure, so they could definitely have like 10 seasons here easy. The question is, are people burnt out on Game of Thrones? Do people not give a shit? Are people going to want to watch a prequel knowing that they bumblefucked the ending? I mean, I guess there's still the books. People still don't know how it ended in the book, so maybe if Martin ever actually puts out a new book, maybe it'll get new interest in the show. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think like what will draw people to it will be the fact that those guys aren't working on the show. Like, they're not anywhere near it. So it's like, okay, the guys that fucked everything up in Game of Thrones aren't actually on this show. It's all the good people.
It's like HBO comes out and prostrates themselves to the fan community. Please, we really need this for our lineup. We really miss all the money in being the biggest thing on television. Look, those two guys you like, they're gone, baby. They're gone. Not only are they gone, but we tarred and feathered them.
But yeah, this is I assume going to be like HBO Max's like flagship show. The funny thing is though that like they announced this and HBO Max comes out, was it May next year? Or so,
yeah, fairly soon.
So there's no way they could actually get the show like made for that time. No way in hell. So it's really not their flagship show. It's like one that will eventually come, maybe if the app is successful.
True, and somewhere off in the corner, Westworld is like, why did everyone seem to forget about us?
Hey, that's coming back soon, and I'm looking forward to it.
It is. I like it. We've completely changed genres now. We're not a Western video game anymore. We're Grand Theft Auto now.
Yeah, and Aaron Paul is in it.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I still haven't watched El Camino yet either.
Oh, gotta get on that.
Too many goddamn things. It's like if I wasn't a YouTuber and had to put out new content every week, I would love to take a vacation, but that vacation is I just wouldn't get out of bed. I would just watch Netflix and order takeout and just catch up on everything.
Just sit in the hospital bed with the control in the hand.
Yeah, pretty much. Bed goes up, bed goes down, bed goes up, bed goes down. Man, I was watching a documentary, on an old wrestler there, and Randy Savage's brother. They showed his house. He has a big, giant-ass TV on his ceiling, so he just lays in bed and looks up at his TV.
Oh my god, that's awesome. I'd love that.
I mean, his wrestling character was the genius, and truly he is living his gimmick because the man's a fucking genius.
That's a big brain idea.
That is the biggest brain idea. He is too powerful. How do you fuck with a man who actually bolted a giant TV to his ceiling? See, that freaked me the fuck out though, because I'm like, man, I really hope I screwed that in tight enough. Because if it falls on me, I will be killed. I will most definitely be killed. Yeah. I hope Lanny's TV never falls. Lanny Poffo, that was his name. Yeah. All right, what else do we got there? So yeah, we got our Star Wars, Game of Thrones crossover news. Some directorial news here. Ant-Man is indeed getting a threequel, and Peyton Reed is actually coming back to direct, which is truly awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's finally getting a third film, and he'll be one of only a handful of directors who have directed like the whole trilogy. We got James Gunn. We got assumedly Ryan Coogler might direct Black Panther 3, I imagine.
He's synonymous with the project now. And maybe Taika Waititi if he gets another Thor, but he's probably going to get another Thor.
Yeah. But pretty cool.
Yeah, I always really liked Ant-Man. I always really liked Paul Rudd. I always think that this is the one Marvel franchise they always sleep on and they never quite give the respect it deserves.
I like it because it's kind of like a slice of life hero sort of movie. The stakes aren't, as big as like a Captain America or an Avengers film. He's just got to stop the bad guy and find time to play around with his daughter and stuff.
Mm-hmm. they are wildly effective palate cleansers, and I think they pick the perfect places for these Ant-Man movies to come out, where it's like, oh man, that Avengers movie was pretty dark, wasn't it? Well, here's Ant-Man, having a fun chase in San Francisco, and here's crazy Walton Goggins.
Yeah, they're great palate cleansers. I'd like the third one to be a palate cleanser, but then also be like introducing like something like new to the universe and something big. Like I think like the Ant-Man films would be like the perfect place to introduce like the Richards family, like Reed Richards and stuff like that, or like set them up in there.
Right, like Hank Pym has to go to a big science conference. He's basically got to go to Mensa to accept an award for all of his science work, and then boom, there is there's Reed Richards.
Yeah, or they're stuck in the quantum realm or something. They find a signal in the quantum realm, and the Fantastic Four have been in there for years or something.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of fun places you could go. That also, Ant-Man has a lot of interesting villains you could pull upon too. I've been saying forever, if you really wanted to up the ante in these films, reintroduce Ultron into the Ant-Man movie, just to really throw some shit, like really throw a spanner in there to be like, okay, Tony Stark in this universe built Ultron, but like maybe Pym is tricked into rebuilding him or something.
Or Pym thinks he can do it better or something.
Exactly. There's a lot of places you could go with that. You could even steal like a Lex Luthor Brainiac thing where it's like, oh, I had this chip on my neck. Oh no, the chip had Ultron in it.
That'd be pretty cool. I think they still got to sort of finish up the whole Ghost story, because like that was kind of like the little thing that led him into Endgame, where he went into the quantum realm to get those cell thingies to like heal Ghost. So they still kind of got to do that.
It's true. And, maybe whoever sent Ghost, whoever the dark part of S.H.I.E.L.D., her master is, there's a lot of places they could go with that.
Yeah.
Also, the Ant-Man cast is huge now, because you got two different Ant-Mans in both Hank Pym and Scott Lang. You got two different Wasps who all have their own set of power. You got, Bill Foster, Giant Man, who maybe he gets powers, maybe he does something. You got Ghost, who wasn't really a bad guy.
Yeah, you got Stature now as well.
You got Stature, so you can make it a father-daughter piece. As the chat mentions, too, don't forget Eric O'Grady. Yeah, Eric O'Grady as Black Ant would be a great villain to introduce here.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about Eric O'Grady.
They don't, but you could make that part of the joke that no one gives a shit about him.
Yeah, he's just some shitty criminal.
Maybe he's like the most shitty criminal. Maybe he steals the Ant-Man suit from Scott, and Scott has to get it back.
I was gonna say, I'd like it if he was like, oh, he's like one of like Scott's old like crewmates, like from like a heist long gone, and he's come back because he's figured out that like he's Ant-Man and he wants the suit for like a heist or something, for like the perfect heist or something.
That's really good. And he's like the darkest mirror to Scott, because he's like a criminal with no empathy, and like, oh yeah, our heist went bad when Eric killed somebody.
Yeah, he's Scott without the morals.
Without the morals, without the family, he's like the most evilest one. And yeah, I know the whole dark mirror thing is overplayed in the superhero genre, but Ant-Man though.
Yeah, and Ant-Man would probably make fun of it as well.
Exactly, where it's like, oh come on, you're a dark mirror to me, fuck off. Get out of here with that
Luke Skeletor says, cast Dennis from Always Sunny as Eric O'Grady. That is perfect casting. And he just plays Dennis as well, just like a psychopath.
I have seen enough Always Sunny in Philadelphia now to agree that is an excellent idea. Or no, you have the thing where it's like he thinks he's a dark mirror to Scott, but Scott, like, be self-aware. And it's like, I'm really not even that good to be a dark mirror of... Like, just make it totally self-aware. It's like, can't you see? We're cut from the same cloth, you and me. No, we're not. You're just a fucking crazy person.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. You know that guy, Glenn Howerton? He was actually going to be cast as Star-Lord?
Really?
Yeah, he did, like, screen tests and everything.
Huh. That's a weird alternate universe, but I could kind of see it.
A psychopath Star-Lord.
Yeah, really. I know James Gunn said he liked, the guy they got so much there. It's like, because he was the big fat guy for years
Chris
and
Pratt,
ever on Parks and Rec. Chris Pratt, he's like, we like you so much, I will cast you in this even if you are still fat. We'll superimpose your head, we'll do something. Which, man, thank God that didn't happen. Thank God he got swole.
I'd like chubby Star-Lord. That'd be pretty funny.
It would be kind of interesting. He's still doing all the dancing and everything, but now he's got a couple extra pounds. Now, what else did we have after that one here? Ooh, another thing I'm sure Matt will be super stoked to talk about, but we got, I guess, the final trailer for Netflix's The Witcher.
Final trailer and release date comes out in December 20th.
Fairly soon, all things considered.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of knew it was coming soon because I think they did say when it was announced it would be coming in 2019 at some point. But yeah, this trailer, pretty cool.
Really cool, I think. Like, I was kind of on the fence about it because I'm like, I don't know, a new dark fantasy show in the era of Game of Thrones. Granted, this was before Game of Thrones fucked everything up. And that's like, I don't know, Henry Cavill, I got a bad Superman taste in my mouth. But then literally, after he opens his mouth and you hear him doing the Geralt voice, it's like, okay, you clearly did your fucking homework. All right.
It looks cool. The dialogue is total like Witcher dialogue, like Geralt. He sounds like Geralt as well, like the guy who does the voice in the games.
He sounds shockingly like Geralt from the games. Like, it's kind of amazing, and he embodies that same sort of like, I'm dead to human emotion, but that doesn't mean I don't have a sense of humor. I'm still dry and wry and everything else.
Yeah. So he's got like all of that, and yeah, it looks cool. Like, we didn't get to see many monsters. We saw some. I think it might have been a Necker or something.
Right. We saw mostly humans.
Yeah. We saw mostly humans, and yeah, looks cool. The only thing I don't like about it is the Nilfgaardian armor. Like, I don't know like what they were thinking when designing that armor, because it looks nothing like the games and nothing like how it's described in the books. It's just it looks like a ball sack.
No, yeah, it kind of does. And yeah, in the games and everything, the Nilfgaardian armor, it's all like, all over the top and over designed.
Yeah, like regal looking and everything, whereas here it just looks like a wrinkly ball sack.
The chat is saying that Cavill is apparently a real life fan of both the books and the games, which is pretty freaking dope.
Yeah. He apparently he's like a really big gamer.
Really? Yeah. You would not think of that by looking at him.
He's like big into like World of Warcraft and stuff.
Interesting. Well, good for him. You know what? I really want the comeback story for Henry Cavill. You know, I don't want him to be another victim of the Superman curse.
Yeah, well, hopefully, like this. Well, he's not playing Superman anymore. But like,
no, I know he isn't.
But I really hope that like maybe this is like the thing like he can do now. Like he'll like do this for like a couple of seasons, and this will get him like up there a little bit. Like they're like, hey, look at that Witcher show. That's pretty awesome.
This looks like it has all the makings to be a big hit, and, you know, I think it's going to be able to sidestep the problem with video game adaptations, to be like, nah, it was a series of books first.
Yep.
But then it still might end up being the greatest video game adaptation ever, because that ceiling is super low.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's like, what's the best one so far? What do you think, like, the best video game adaptation is so far?
Prince of Persia, maybe, because it's like a third-rate Pirates of the Caribbean sequel, or like the Doom movie, but like only in the last 15 minutes when it goes first person.
I'm glad you brought that. The first Doom movie, people, not that shitty second one that recently came out. I watched that recently. Holy crap, is it bad?
I bet. The original Mortal Kombat movie, yeah, that's pretty good. Detective Pikachu is really good, but also Pokemon, it was a manga first.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think.
Or no, I guess it was a game first.
I kind of like that Need for Speed film. I thought that was pretty good.
I never saw it. Also had Aaron Paul in it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. It was basically like a Fast and Furious film.
Yeah, this really is turning into the Aaron Paul appreciation cast, isn't it? I, for one, would like to give thanks to Aaron Paul for everything he does for us and for being in our lives.
Yeah, so this show wouldn't have been possible without Aaron Paul.
No, it never would be. Big ups, AP, wherever you are.
Selling his vodka with Bryan Cranston or something.
Is that really? Is that a thing he's
doing?
Yeah,
they did like a bunch of like photos like before El Camino came out, and everyone thought, oh, this is for that Breaking Bad film. And it's like, oh no, it's like for our like vodka or whiskey or whatever the fuck they were selling.
Well, that's cool. But yeah, more power to the Witcher show. I hope it has a long, fruitful run. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it, and I didn't think I would be excited. So, you know, it's made a fan of me already.
Yeah.
What else did we have here? Ooh, here's an interesting one for you. Jeffrey Wright officially confirmed as Jim Gordon for the Batman. His name had been floated around for a little bit, and we were all pretty sure he was going to be cast, but now it's 100% confirmed that, yes, he is going to be our Jim Gordon.
Yeah, and cool. I like him. I like him a lot. He's great in, like, Westworld. He's great in those James Bond films that he's in. And, yeah, he's great. He'd make great Jim Gordon.
Yeah. Excellent actor. I'm sure he'll bring something different that we haven't seen to the part before, and something that is already ticking off internet racist because they did colorblind casting with Gordon. Which, again, is there anything inherently white about Jim Gordon? No,
he's a cop. That's it.
He's a grizzled cop. He's got a mustache. Batman's always sneaking up on him and leaving him.
Yep. Yeah, and as well as, like, people are like, oh, if he's black, that means they're going to be a black Batgirl. So, she was black in that Lego Batman film. So,
indeed she was.
She was played by Rosario
she was biracial
Dawson.
in that movie. Yeah, and everyone loves that version, so, what's wrong with that? That's fine.
Yeah.
Again, too, I actually appreciate this movie for going kind of colorblind on its casting there, because, again, it's going to do a good job differentiating it from, like, the several other Batman movies we've seen.
Yeah, and as well, this all but confirms this has nothing to do with the Snyder Batman films at all.
Yep, which I am totally fine with. And also, too, just a fucking killer cast from top to bottom, really.
Everything about this cast has been absolutely perfect. Like, everything. Even, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff with, like the composers and the cinematographers they're getting and everything. It's just perfect.
Yeah, so far, so sure they've really been nailing it on everything. And you know what? I thought it was going to be hard to get me excited for another Batman movie after so much bat fatigue. But honestly, they're kind of doing it.
Yeah, they're kind of doing it.
I'm kind of on board for this. And, obviously, with every Batman thing, you got to think about series building and being like, okay, where are we going to go from here? Because they don't just want one Batman movie. They no doubt want many Batman movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. And with someone like Robert Pattinson, you can get, like, easily, 3 or 4 out of him.
Oh, yeah. I guess the next big milestone for a new Batman film is we have our cast, we have our director, we have our villain. I guess we got to start seeing costumes soon.
Yeah, I imagine it starts shooting very soon, so we'll either get, like, set photos or they'll release, like, a photo of the costume or something. But, yeah, I'd love if this was, like, the start of, like, the DC universe proper. Like, you start off with the Batman films, then you branch out a little bit to, like, you get the new Superman, you get the new Wonder Woman. Although I don't think they'll do a new Wonder Woman. They'll somehow try and cram Gal Gadot into it because she was successful. Same with Aquaman.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, you take what you can get when you can get it. And I mean, Superman is going to be an interesting time, too, because we're going to have a TV Superman soon on the CW with, like, an official show now, an official adventure.
I'm glad you said that because I like, forgot about it for a moment there and quickly had to, like, do up a picture for it for the chat, which I just put up now. So
thank you. I thought we talked about it last week.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
But yeah, Tyler Hoechlin, or Hoechlin, how do you pronounce his last name?
I don't know. I always get told different things.
I know that Generation West is pulling his hair out right now because he's a big stickler for pronunciation. So we hear you, West, and we see you wherever you are. But yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of felt like this is a road they would go down eventually, where that is like, okay, so all these CW shows are all wildly popular and shatter their own expectations, and everyone loves this Superman, and they really don't love the movie Superman, so, like, why not?
Yeah, I'm the one thing when I said the show, I was like, oh, finally. Because it had been talked about for a long time, like, back when, like, he was first cast in that second season of Supergirl, like, that he'd mentioned that, like, they talked about, like, a possible show. So to see it, like, come out and probably be, like, a spin out of Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's great. That's so cool.
It really is, and it's funny. I know you and I were always theorizing where it's like, okay, so this Crisis that they're doing for the CW, this seems like a big point, right? This seems like a major turning point for all of these shows, and it's like, well, what are they going to do after that? Tevi is happy, of course, because Superboy, naturally. What are they going to do after this? That's like a huge height doing a Crisis. What do you got next in the arsenal? And they literally walked out on stage, dropped a mic, Superman show.
Yeah, it's like, as well, it's like, what do you do? Because, like, Arrow's finishing. Arrow was, like, their flagship show. that's finishing up. What do you do to replace that? I think we even talked about, like, what do we do to replace Arrow? And it's like, then they gave us the answer is like fucking Superman.
Yeah, where it's like, look, you want a dark and gritty crime show, go watch Batwoman. It's got 9 more episodes. You want a big major gun to hold down the whole universe? Boom, here's a Superman show. And it's not just a Superman show, it's a Lois and Superman show together.
Yeah, I think that the show's going to be called Superman and Lois, or, Lois and Superman or something.
Which is cool that she gets in the title, too, where it's like, look, this isn't just a Superman thing, this is a Superman family
And
thing.
again, so she should. She's a great character. And the woman that plays her in the show, Elizabeth Tulloch or something, she's great as Lois in what we've seen of her.
And we have a Luthor in the show now, and like a bunch of the other villains already basically set up because of Supergirl.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what do you do for like the villains and stuff? Obviously, you got Lex Luthor, so you can have John Cryer be there and hamming it up as Lex Luthor, which is great, which is fantastic. But yeah, like we can do stuff like Parasite again. We can do Metallo. We can do even like the ones that like we haven't seen, like bring Intergang back in there, and
I'd like that.
Bruno Mannheim, stuff like that. Kryptonite Man, stuff like that.
What villains haven't they done yet? Because obviously you're more familiar with this than me. Of all the big names people know, who haven't they done yet in the CW verse?
I mean, they've done quite a few. They've done quite a few.
I
mean, you could say it's like you
think.
could like redo them as like a proper Superman villain, for the show. But yeah, as someone said, Manchester back, they've already kind of done him already in Supergirl. He was like a big long arc in Supergirl, which they kind of ruined that whole what's the difference between truth and justice story.
That's a shame.
Yeah, Brainiac. We could have Brainiac, although in saying Brainiac, I'm kind of like sullied because of the Krypton one was so fucking good, and so perfect.
Same with Doomsday and Lobo, where it's like, is it too close to them?
Yeah, well, maybe like try and work it where it's like, oh, that was technically this universe's past? ?
Yeah, fair enough. Have they done Mongol yet? There's a place they could go, Mongol in Warworld.
I think he got mentioned, but they haven't done him. They had General Zod for like a second, which would be really interesting because apparently the General Zod on this world is dead.
Maybe you do the Russian General Zod.
There's
other General Zods.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I know, like, Schmidt is, like, a good guy here, so they could maybe do, like, another version of the Toyman. Maybe they could do, like, the Japanese hero Toyman, but he's a bad guy first, then he becomes a good guy.
That'd be pretty cool. They did do the villain Toyman because it was his father.
Right.
But I think...
Schlot, yeah.
Yeah, I think he died, or... I honestly can't remember. It was a while ago, because he hasn't been in the show for a while.
Right, it would be interesting to see him. I'm trying to
yes,
think.
Let's do the best villain ever, Rogol Zar.
Oh, fuck right off with that.
The most complex villain who shaped Superman to who he is.
You know, I'd like to say that's impossible, but then I'm reminded that Arrow actually did Komodo only like a couple years after he was invented for the new 52 run.
They'd make Rogol Zar probably better. Like, give him better, like, motivations and stuff like that.
I mean, you couldn't make him worse. They did Mr. Mxyzptlk too, didn't they?
Yeah, really, really well as well.
Man, imagine that Mr. Mxyzptlk versus this Superman. Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, that's like a whole episode right there where it's like, look, he comes and he messes up Superman's life, and they just do like straight up Golden Age wackiness.
I'd be happy with that. I'd be completely happy with that.
I would be. So there's places they can go with this Superman show for sure. So, you know, the future's pretty bright for for the CW superhero universe right now.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see, like, because I have to imagine like Flash might be coming to an end very soon, like next season or so. It'd be cool to see him to like meet with Superman and have an episode where they cross over and stuff like that. But yeah,
they gotta have a race is what they gotta have.
Supergirl and him had a race, and now he's got to race Superman.
Exactly, to prove who the fastest is.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see like what other shows they'll do now that, like, when Flash ends, like what would replace that?
Yeah, true. Well, again, Flash is in such a weird place because we know so many of those actors aren't coming back next season.
Yeah, that's true. So, like, do they get a new cast? Does he get, like, put into another show, or yeah.
Or something, I don't know. Like, I keep watching this season, and admittedly, I've only watched, like, the first 2 episodes. Again, I'm so behind. I'm so tired, everyone. But I kept watching and looking, and I'm like, okay, are they going to replace Cisco and Caitlin, and who are the characters? Are they going to set up this season to replace them, or what are we going to do?
Yeah. Well, we're getting, like Ralph and Sue Dibney very soon. So
that's
so
right.
Again, they could replace them. I'd be happy with that.
They could, and make it more of a crime procedural. Again, I know I'm way behind, but I watched that episode 2 with the ultraviolet girl and the microwave murder mystery. And I'm like, this is a really good superhero police procedural. This feels like a Daredevil episode minus Daredevil. It really fucking did with like, what is it, Joe's wife literally pulling a Daredevil like, oh, I believe you because of my superpowers that you've been framed, but I can't tell anyone about my superpowers. And I'm like, this is totally a Daredevil episode is what this is. But, yeah, so there's your taste of Superman news, everyone. And, yeah, very excited to see what's going to happen there. Yeah. And I guess with that out of the way, we can actually talk about what we read this week. It was a light week, thank God, for once.
Yeah, thank God, although it didn't really help.
No, it didn't. Again, let's try and stick to the new stuff we read, because I also picked up a bunch of old stuff, too.
Alrighty.
All right, where would you like to begin, Matt, my faithful co-host?
Well, let's begin with Batman Annual Issue 4.
It was 4, and I actually didn't read this one. I skimmed through it. I'm like, does this have anything to do with City of Bane? Nope, fuck it, man.
It didn't, and that's what made it great.
I'm not surprised.
It was actually really great. It contradicts everything King has written about Batman before, because this Batman's like a happy guy who fights dragons and races people in sports cars and, does
fights in the MMA.
It's like wacky shit, and that's about it.
But King wrote this.
Yeah, he wrote this whole
That's weird.
And it feels like his Walmart Superman book. This because the whole deal with this book is it's pages from the Journal of Alfred. Over a month,
Alfred eulogy,
2 months of like days in the life of Batman and what he does, and that's as thin a plot as like you could see through the plot if you held it up to light, because it's just like a bunch of panels that King, or it's mainly the artist, because there's barely any fucking dialogue in this book, which is probably why it was good.
Which King does a lot.
Which is probably why it was
he's
good.
Just like, yeah, hey artist, you run with this. Here's a bunch of my half ideas.
So it was like his artists were just allowed to go ham in like what they wanted in a Batman book. So we got Batman fighting in a charity UFC match, and Zebra Batman, and
I saw
Batman
that.
fighting mummies and vampires and just like wacky golden age shit. And that's the book. And again, it feels like his Walmart Superman book, where he kind of had a plot, but just wanted to like tell all these little short stories. And just use
which he's better
use
at.
the thin plot to like barely tape it together.
That's crazy. It's crazy to think that man as a creator has both those sides.
I know, yeah, but there's no in between. There's either all that pretentious shit we see in his Batman ongoing, or this.
Or Batman fighting dragons in charity UFC matches.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Well, it's nice to know you enjoyed it, and, for people who say, oh, they just hate everything Tom King does. No, we just don't like his Batman. We'll admit when he does other stuff we do enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. I'm glad you enjoyed the one. I did pick it up because I thought I was going to review it, and then I, breezed through it, and I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with City of Bane, so I guess I don't need to cover it.
Well, again, that's what made it good. Nothing to do with City of Bane, which is weird, although it really isn't, because like an annual would be something like he could use to explain things, and it's like Tom King ain't gonna explain shit.
Not now, not this late in the game, he ain't. Alrighty then. So I guess the other big book we had this week was, of course, the new X-Men book, because we're getting a new X-Men book for a while now.
Yeah.
And that was Excalibur, issue number 1.
Yeah, this was a really cool book, blending the sword and sorcery with X-Men hijinks.
Absolutely. I love that all of these X-Men books are so thematic now, where Marauders is a high-sea pirate comedy, and this is a sword and sorcery Arthurian legend type story dealing with the mutants' relation to magic, and I didn't really think about it until they brought it up, and it's like, yeah, a lot of mutants are also magic users.
Yeah, lots of them are, and because of that, obviously, a Krakoan gate has opened in Camelot, and Morgan Le Fay's like, what the fuck's this shit? There's fucking weeds, man, in my pool. I need pool man, fucking Captain Britain to come and fucking deal with it.
That's literally what it is, Captain Britain. But by the order of the Queen, come and fix my shit.
Come and clean the pool.
Literally, that's the mission. And Brian Braddock's like, oh, I don't know, for Queen and Country, I guess I should. This seems like a trap, but I'm going to do it anyway. We hang out with his sister there, Betsy Braddock, the former Psylocke. Not anymore, because we've split those two characters off now, and no writer really wanted to talk about it until right now.
Yeah, so she's trying to, like, figure out her life now that she's back to her old life, as well as, like, trying to figure out, like, what is her life, because she didn't have one before.
Who am I?
She stole it from someone else, basically. So, yeah, it's like trying to find her identity.
Who am I? And I like, too, at first, she's like, I don't want to go to Krakoa because I have a bad history of stealing people's bodies and their lives, and a lot of people really, really hate me.
Yeah. And Psylocke is there, and I'll be, like, getting, like, the fuck you stares.
Yeah, really. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. No one ever talked about this, but yeah, Betsy was kind of a bitch for a long time. I'm glad they're finally bringing that up, and it's, it's that complicated stuff that makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And, then you get in the whole Captain Britain mythos, where it's like, she was actually Captain Britain once before. Her brother Brian is Captain Britain now. They have a third brother, Jamie, who is the real black sheep of the family.
Yeah, who was dead, but now isn't, thanks to the Krakoan tech, so he's back and taking full advantage of his life and partying and whatnot, being a dick.
What's really interesting about that, too, is I'm like, oh, so they brought him back exactly like he was. That's interesting, because they had the opportunity to tinker with his mind and tinker with whatever they want. Did they choose not to do it because it was the wrong thing to do, or is because, he's magic himself on top of being a mutant? Was he actually able to stave off the tinkering?
Yeah, like there was a block or something. Yeah, interesting.
I truly wonder, does magic throw a wrench into the whole resurrection thing, and is that why Jamie, or Monarch as he's also known, was able to kind of get around it? Because Egg, the former Gold Ball, even admits, like, he's not listening to us. That's not normal.
Yeah, he's kind of worried that, oh no, the mutant's loose and he can think for himself.
Yeah, and is, like, really too powerful to think for himself too. Can you please deal with this bullshit? And indeed she does, and eventually she goes with her brother to Avalon, to the other world. It has a lot of fucking names.
Oh yeah, Avalon, Camelot, the Overworld, the Other World.
Yeah, to go deal with the problem, and that obviously ends up going really bad because Morgan Le Fay, on top of being one of the oldest villains in fiction, is also super racist against mutants, or the witch breed, as she calls them.
Yeah, the witch breed.
Yeah, get these damn witch breeds out of my fucking castle.
Yeah, it's like, and she, because they're there, and because that weed is in her pond and everything, she, like, takes magic from, I guess, the people of Earth, or like that coven, like, or something.
Literal hipster magic nerds, like neo-druids.
Yeah, takes their magic, because they pull the magic from Avalon, and it's like, no, you're not getting it until you fuck off these mutants. And then they become...
Kill my enemies.
And then, they end up falling... Betsy and Brian end up falling into a trap. And Brian becomes, like, a black-suited Captain Britain.
He becomes Morgan Le Fay's Black Knight. Yeah, he literally gets turned. And I'm like, oh, this is actually a pretty good reason as to explain why... Betsy becomes Captain Britain again, and that is like, oh, because he was honor and magic bound to serve the House of Pendragon, to serve Otherworld, and now he's been controlled, and literally this was the only way to make sure Morgan Le Fay didn't get the Captain Britain amulet, to give it to a new owner.
Yeah, give it to her, get her to, like, leave. And, it was a pretty cool issue. And also, like, we get some shit with, like, Rogue and Gambit, where they allude to, like, wanting to start a family, but then Rogue gets, like, turned into, like, a plant or something.
Yeah, she gets She gets turned into like a weird sleeping beauty princess. Yeah. Oh, and thank you, I am truly for following.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for filling the cup.
Yeah, she turns into like Sleeping Beauty again with like the whole fantasy thing. Is this going to be like something like the quest that the Excalibur mutants have to go on to like free the sleeping rogue?
I mean, I think that's literally what their first mission is, and I think that's kind of cool. We glossed over it too, but Apocalypse plays a huge part in this story because he's essentially the guy in charge with managing all of the magic mutants and trying to further Krakoa's efforts into the world of magic, which I like.
Yeah, and I like the running gag as well, where he's like, no one calls me Apocalypse here, call me random Krakoan letter name.
Symbol.
And it's like, no one can pronounce that.
He's literally the artist formerly known as Apocalypse, and it makes sense where he's like, no, that was my name in war times. This is peaceful times now. Call me da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, you know you have another name. Why don't they just call you In Sabanur?
Yeah, maybe that's what it means in that Krakoan language, but because he's on Krakoa, he's got to use that language.
He's got to be all fancy with it and everything. It's kind of fun to see Apocalypse as a kind of not villain.
It is, yeah, but like obviously people don't think he's playing the hero like Gambit is like, I know your tricks. I've seen them firsthand. You're up to something.
Like literally Gambit was a horseman, so it makes sense where he's like, no, I'm not going to give you a second chance. You're a dick. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Excalibur, and Excalibur was yet another solid book here in this new Dawn of X-Men title. So far, they've all been hitting it out of the park.
Yeah, it's going to get even busier because, like, from now on, there's 2 X-Men books a week.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is there another one this week, or do we actually take an X-Men break?
No, we get 2 this week.
Oh, really? Yeah. What are the 2 this week?
What were they? They were
X-Force hasn't come out yet.
They were Fallen Angels and
right.
What was the other one? There was for New Mutants.
New
Mutants and X-Force this week.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. I mean, New Mutants you gotta pick up because it's Hickman, even though I usually stay away from New Mutants because I've never been a fan of those particular characters. Yeah. X-Force I'm super stoked for because that's Benjamin Percy, writer who you and I both love, who we felt never got what he deserved over at DC, so it's cool to see him writing this book. And also, if you're going to be reading the Wolverine book, you probably should also be reading the X-Force book because Percy's going to be writing both.
Yep. They'll definitely tie in together.
Fallen Angels, as the chat is saying, that's the one with the other Psylocke. Yeah, that will be interesting. And also, apparently, Mr. Sinister's in that book, too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which again, that was the one I was kind of iffy about because it's Brian Edward Hill, who his work in general for me, either I really like it or really don't like it. There's really no in between for me.
Yeah, I dropped that Batman and the Outsiders book because that wasn't fucking going anywhere.
Yeah, because it's the Outsiders, because the Outsiders never goes anywhere. DC has literally trained us to never get invested in the Outsiders because their legacy is getting canceled. They are maybe one of the most popular cult teams, but they're cult for a reason because they never stick around. I wonder, too, will Percy talk about the whole Wolverine Hot Claws thing, or have we already completely abandoned that?
I do remember the artist, like briefly mentioned it. The artist, Victor
Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic, yeah, the guy drawing it. I know he briefly mentioned it in a joking way, but like he mentioned it, right. So maybe he's gonna draw it.
We at the Comic Multiverse actually have like a few degrees of Kevin Bacon with Victor Bogdanovich, if you can believe it.
We do.
Yeah, I know Sal from Comic Pop. We do Elseworlds Exchange together, and when Sal did indie comics, Victor Bogdanovich actually drew his indie comic. So we actually kind of know him, which I think is pretty cool. I'm not super familiar with his work. I know he did a fill-in for, I think it was either Jurgen's Superman or Tomasi's Superman, and I thought it was weird because his facial hair on General Zod was like super over-designed.
It's like a big Z. Yeah, he did that book. He did New Superman. He did all of New Superman, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I've seen his Wolverine work, and it looks interesting.
It looks really
Wolverine is known to... Yeah, he's a guy known for cool facial hair, and Bogdanovic has a cool facial hair theory.
Yeah.
to his art. But yeah, that was your X-Men, everyone. It continues to be good. There hasn't been a bad one yet, and I have to think that there might not be a bad one. There might be ones you like more.
Yeah, we're about halfway through the actual list of the first issues, and no bad issue yet.
No, they've all been really solid. I know one person complained where it's like, oh, there's too much X-Men now. I can't follow it all. And I'm like, well, really, you don't have to follow it all. Because they're all telling one story about the rise of Krakoa as a nation, so just pick the angle you're most interested in and stick with that.
Yeah, just read the normal X-Men book. Like, you don't need to read, like, Marauders to understand what's happening in X-Men 2 or something.
I mean, it might be helpful down the line, but still.
Yeah.
What else did you want to talk about? Should we talk about Tales from the Dark Multiverse?
I was just about to say that, yes.
Yeah, let's.
My favorite issue this week.
Yeah, it was really solid.
I loved it.
I was not expecting this one to knock my socks off like it did, and it really did. I especially like it because this is a Dark Multiverse story that is not predicated on Batman for once.
Yes, it's that's what most of these tales will be. We've had the Batman one, and we're doing Superman, then we've got Blackest Night and Infinite Crisis, stuff that's not based around Batman or any hero really individually. This issue was really fantastic and one of the best comics I've read. I like that Jeff Loveness didn't just go the really easy route of Lois goes insane and just like kills a bunch of people.
Thank you. I appreciate that too. I was worried going into this when I'm like, oh, Lois gets godlike powers, and because women can't handle power and authority, she goes nuts and kills everybody. No, they don't do that. This is literally one of my favorite types of stories where it's the path to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah. So the story is set on the Dark Multiverse. So we get the death of Superman. Superman dies. The funeral.
Exactly how you remember it.
But what's really cool is we get to see all of that from like Lois's point of view, and like almost immediately she's like blaming the other heroes because they weren't there. The JLA and all that because they weren't fucking going to do anything against Doomsday anyway. No, they got their asses handed to them before the fight.
This is also one of the worst eras for the Justice League with some of the weakest, most underpowered members. Yeah, Bloodwind wasn't making the difference. Booster Gold wasn't making the difference.
Booster Gold got his shit pushed in by Doomsday.
Almost instantly.
Yeah. But so they do that, and there's a really cool part as well in the funeral part. Where they have the procession with the heroes like carrying the coffin down the rainy street, and Lois goes like, of course they're there. They want the spotlight, they want the attention, while people who actually loved Clark Kent are like relegated to like the back row of the crowd, and it's talking about her, how she's like way in the back and everything, and she can't obviously come forward or anything. But yeah, I thought that was a nice little part, and in a way it's kind of true as well.
It is. They do a really good job building sympathy for Lois's turn to the dark side in this, where you're like, yeah, I'd be feeling that too if I was her. And they, again, bring it back to his parents, who, the only reason Superman was good is because, they took a chance on an alien that crashed down, and, Superman was too good for this world, and his parents weren't even allowed to go to his funeral.
Yeah, not even that, like, Jonathan, because of that, ends up being put into a coma thanks to his heart. So, like, Martha Kent not just lost her son, but probably lost her husband as well to this.
Yeah.
So it's all ruined, and we get to see like Lois like go to work, but nothing's the same anymore because like the world changed for a little bit, but then just went back to the normal stuff with nuclear fallout and arms races,
child
and
soldiers.
Yeah, all the terrible shit. So yeah, she goes to the Fortress Solitude to give the cape back to the fortress, telling them that they wasted their last opportunity and everything.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's when the Eradicator arrives, and he says he was late to get...
I love that so much. The Eradicator being late is what fucked this up for everything. Oh, I shouldn't have stopped at that space in and out.
Yes, I shouldn't have stopped at that rest and stop.
Why did I get a haircut? I don't even have hair.
Yeah, so he didn't get Superman into the Matrix in time, so his cells couldn't regenerate, so he's fully dead. And the Eradicator can't hold the power of the Matrix in, so they need like a Kryptonian body to give the power to. So Lois suggests herself, even though she's human, and just by like sheer will, basically, she's able to harness the power and become the Eradicator.
I do love they leave it open-ended, too, where it's like, hey, taking up this much power, it could kill you or it could drive you crazy. And she's like, yeah, I'm so past caring right now. Hit me with it.
It's like, and it did drive her crazy because, like, almost immediately she's like, well, I'm going to make this world, like, a world that Superman, like, that deserved Superman. So she does that by first like rounding up like bankers and like doing like kind of usual Superman stuff, like stopping wars and all that sort of stuff, feeding the hungry. But then she's like, oh, well, what if I just kill the Ra's al Ghuls or the Jokers?
What if I took it the next step? It's great, too, the nature of corrupting power. She's like, look, I can hear all these screams, which means he heard all the screams and all the troubles in the world, and he didn't do anything about it. Maybe my husband wasn't as good as I thought he was, but maybe I can be better. And also because I'm human and because I'm a journalist, like, I know who the bad people are. I've always known. It's the captains of industry. It's the corrupt bankers and politicians and warlords, and I could go and kill them right now.
Yeah, and she does that. She like kills like all these people, kills like Intergang, League of Shadows, kills fucking like Joker just immediately, and then Batman's like, no, I have no purpose now.
Yeah, basically. And she really eviscerates Batman verbally where she's like, you know why he let you do it, my husband Superman? It's because he felt bad for you. He pitied you. He pitied you, and he always handled you with kid gloves. And you know what? I'm not going to handle you with kid gloves.
Yeah, and just, like, ends up, like, killing Batman. Although Batman gets, like, a really good line in there, where he's like, where Lois is like, I'm not going to let Clark die in vain. And Batman's like, you already did.
Oh, I love that so much, and obviously she had to kill him at that point. I love, too, the implication where she's like, look, every fight you've ever had before where you won, every, like, Dark Knight Returns, yeah, he was going soft on you.
Yeah, he was pulling his punches.
Yeah, because he felt bad for you. And then naturally kills Luthor, who we discover all this new bad stuff he was at the center of, because he always is, and it's like long-haired clone Lex too.
Yeah, I love that scene, how he doesn't even like bother to like hide the fact that he's just like, I poisoned the well and blew up the reservoir and I killed my assistant just because I can, because I knew Superman wasn't around
to stop me. And the fact that he does this because he assumes like, oh, well, you're the new Superman, Lois. You're going to treat me like he did. Take me to jail and I'll get out. And she's like, nope, not this time.
Yeah, how she kills him is so fucking awesome. She like flies him into the stratosphere and he like just burns up because he's got no protection. It's just so awesome.
His skin melts off into nothing. Tevi in the chat saying, imagine Injustice Superman meeting this Lois Lane. I think they get along.
Match made in heaven.
Oh, geez, there's a crossover I want. It's like Injustice Superman sees this Lois, and then that Krista Bird song, Lady in Red, starts playing.
It's even funnier because she is in red.
Indeed. In fact, she's wearing the tattered cape, which is still tattered from the fight with Doomsday, so it's all covered in fringes. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then we get the usual like reign of the Superman, where instead of 4 Superman, there's no Eradicator this time because she's Eradicator. No. We get the Superboy, Steel, and Cyborg Superman. I love the fact that like she confronts Cyborg Superman, who up until this point was pretending to be the real Superman, like he was in the original reign of the Superman. And
Lois was really dumb in that story because she believed Cyborg Superman for way longer than she should.
Yeah, here she's like, I ain't believing that shit. You're not the real Superman. I saw him die. And he's like, well, you're smart. I'm not gonna like beat around the bush. Yeah, I'm not the real Superman. I'm gonna blow up the fucking Earth.
And her thing is like, take that S off your chest, you dishonor it. And he, Cyborg Superman, again, getting a good line in himself where it's like, oh yeah, I'm dishonoring it. Look, I never pretended to do anything but drag this through the mud. You actually think you're honoring it, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
It is really good because it's up until that point you're like, wow, this is a cool Injustice Lois story. Then you're like, oh yeah, we're still doing Reign of the Superman, so they actually tack that on too.
Yeah, and then the Superboy and Steel show up and get immediately killed.
I love that. She's just like, get Get out of here. No one liked you. Go away.
They get immediately killed. And then we learn that Superman is still alive in the black suit and everything. It just the regeneration took a little bit longer than it should have.
Yeah, hey Lois, what did I miss? Oh, it's cool you have powers now. Why is everyone terrified of you, Lois? What did I miss?
What did you do, Lois?
That's such a beautiful moment too, because she's like, no, I was fine, selling my soul and going down this dark path because I knew I would never have to justify myself to Superman. Now he's here and I have no way of defending myself.
Yeah, and then the cyborg Superman unleashes like a cannon, which Lois arrogantly goes to stop, and in doing so, it dumps all its kryptonite over the weakened Superman and like kills him instantly.
Again, meaning that his last thoughts before dying again was how Lois became this evil monster.
Yeah, I love that scene. Like, what was the dialogue? It's like the last thing he saw was like the last thing she saw of him was like the terror in his eyes or something. It's beautiful, amazing.
As hope dies, and I'm just like, yeah, that's the good shit right here. That's the primo shit.
Yeah. This was so cool. So cool. And it could have just been a simple Lois goes crazy and the Superboy and the Super Steel and all that have to stop her. But yeah, Jeff Loveness did something a little bit extra.
Indeed, he did. I like the idea, too, that, again, much like in the Injustice universe, it's not like, oh, and then she had to fight the Justice League.
Yeah.
No, because some of the heroes at that point probably would have been like, no, let her go.
Yeah. Hal Jordan would be like, hey, she's doing a good idea. I'm going to go become Parallax now.
Yeah, right. Or maybe he wouldn't now, because maybe if she killed all those people in that fight with Cyborg Superman, she probably killed Mongol, which means maybe Coast City wouldn't have gotten destroyed, which means maybe he wouldn't have become Parallax.
I'd like to think that like she did that, but then somehow like she would have destroyed Coast City inadvertently, and it would have turned Hal into Parallax.
Oh no, I'm crazy again. Now I gotta go kill the Green Lantern Corps. Yeah, this is a fun universe. Well, it's not fun. It's very dark and dour and sad, but it's a very creative universe.
Yeah, it's allowing all these creators to be creative and not be restrained by like, oh, where's this in canon? Although DC at the moment doesn't give a fuck about canon.
No, they really don't. But yeah, this was a good one. We can agree. This was a high point of the week.
It was. I'm very intrigued to see what the Blackest Night one next will be like.
Same, because again, I think it's got to focus on Sinestro. Yes.
Yeah, Sinestro, who becomes like the good guy and like the one who can the like White Lantern who saves everyone.
Because that's how that story worked. Sinestro became the White Lantern first, then everyone became the White Lantern after. But clearly, in this universe, they fail. So. Yeah, that will be interesting to see how that one goes, especially because Sinestro is one of those characters like Doctor Doom and everything where it's like, I have one foot in heroism all the time. Yeah. But, what else did we have going on here? We had Joker Killer Smile.
Yeah, the only decent Joker book out.
Well, the only one I wanted to read. I'll probably read Harleen and the other one later, but this is just like, look, it's 3 issues, it's short, it's Jeff Lemire and Sorrentino, a team you know and love.
That's the reason I picked it up, those guys, because I knew they'd do something, again, a little extra. And they do.
Indeed, they did. It's kind of cool to see Sorrentino's version of the Joker, because despite the fact that he's been drawing comics for so long, he's never gotten to draw the Joker until now.
Yeah, and I actually really like this version of the Joker, where like he doesn't have like some like scarred face, like it looks like paint on his face. He's got like the like bandages on and everything, but like for all intensive purposes, he's just a normal dude.
Yeah, with short hair. Yeah. I like that. He didn't give him like a crazy hairstyle. He's just got like short, normal guy hair.
Again, that I feel like that's something to do with like him being in Arkham. Like they cut his hair and laced him, threw powdered sugar at him and stuff, and
took all his shit away. And again, this story is so self-aware too, because it's a psychiatrist asking Joker, well, what are you? What's your origin? Are you an artist? Are you a magician? Are you a performance criminal? Are you a comedian? And he's like, I'm all these things and none of these things. I keep changing my mind. And it's like, it's a stupid idea to try and get to know me, right? Lots of other people have tried to get inside my head and they've gone crazy and they're locked up in Arkham now.
Yeah, and not only that, like the Doctor like posits the fact he doesn't want to cure the Joker. He wants to like find out what he is so he can like put that in with other other inmates and like try and like apply that to other inmates to see if he can cure them, and it becomes like an ego thing, or maybe it isn't.
Or maybe he's so far he seems to be doing it for totally selfish reasons, and we think like, oh, is he trying to make some money off this? And then we realize, no, he might also be crazy himself, and maybe it's not about curing the Joker, it's about curing whatever he has.
Yeah, it's not the ego thing. He's just doing it to find his own cure, and to do that he needs to study the Joker. Study, I guess, true insanity in a way.
Yeah, in its craziest form, and it bleeds on over into his home life, and it's a psychological horror. It's Shutter Island with the Joker. It's you're questioning reality. Everything is really creepy and foreboding, and he's losing time and everything, which that has always scared the shit out of me. The idea of people blacking out and losing time.
Yeah. It's great, and again, like as I said in my review, like the Joker isn't even the main character. He's like a force that moves through the characters and like. Dictates what they do, because like when they have an interaction with him, they kind of they feel weird after it and kind of go a little bit crazy, like what this doctor is doing.
Madness, it's like gravity, and the Joker has the biggest gravitational pull. Which, again, they've kind of been exploring a lot recently in Joker stories, and I think that's the way you got to do it when you're talking about a character who the whole point to them is that they are vague and that, they have no origin and they can fit any slot you put them into. You don't write about them, you write about another character and how their interactions affect them.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this Joker as well is that he kind of appears just like completely sane. Like he's not like sitting in the chair cackling and making jokes. He's like talking in full sentences and talking quite like eloquently to this doctor, and he's for all intents and purposes entirely sane.
It's very Hannibal Lecter. If not for the clown makeup, you could easily forget that this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's not. I don't know. That's another thing people have been toying with, the idea that maybe the Joker is totally sane and only pretends to be insane. But yeah, it's good, solid stuff, and it's nice and short, too, at only 3 issues, so this is going to be a story with a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Which is so rare now in comics to be like, that was good, I enjoyed that from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, most def. What else was this week? We had the big finale for Deceased.
We did, yeah, and this was a good finale.
It was, I bet a lot of people didn't think a book about zombies and murder and cannibalism and the end of the world would actually end up being so hopeful and kind of heartwarming at the end.
Yeah, kind of heartwarming, and kind of like finishes up the story, although he leaves it open for a sequel, because there'll no doubt be a sequel.
Boy, does it.
In like the next 6 months, probably.
Oh god, no doubt about it.
But so obviously Superman got turned into a zombie and is completely destroying the world. So Wonder Woman and a bunch of other heroes have to go and stop him, and to do that she like takes Damian's kryptonite and infuses it into her magic sword to give it the +2 on the attack, because it's already a magic sword.
The loot table is good, and the crafting system in this universe is just next level. Wonder Woman, she got that early on in the game, but was sure to hold on to it because she knew it would be important in the later meta
as she leveled up. Yeah.
Absolutely, so it's super strong. It's great, too, because, they're like, well, how are we going to deal with Superman? And Damian's like, well, my father actually planned to kill all of you, so I got a little kryptonite on it. And Wonder Woman's like, no, I got this. Your dad's not the only one who planned to kill everyone in case they went rogue.
Well, I like the thing is like, because Damian's like, so he gave me this, and I've got plans to turn it into a gas that could, like, stop Superman. And she's like, Diana's like, Bruce was many things, but lethal wasn't one of them, and it was quite admirable. And I thought that was pretty good.
Very much so. Yeah, I like that. Again, giving Wonder Woman stuff to do that she doesn't normally get to do, being like the last of the original Trinity.
Yeah. Giving her like the killing blow basically to Superman, although she doesn't really kill him.
No, she doesn't. Much like Thor in the Avengers movie, why did they always forget to go for the head?
Again, I have to feel that was like her thinking, oh, maybe if I just disarm him, we can like talk him down or something. Yeah. Like she'll tell everyone to like they have to kill him, but she herself can't bring herself to do that.
Again, I've seen Shaun of the Dead. If I just cut off his arms and legs, we can keep him out in the shed and play video games with him. It'll be great. It'll be great, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
She got fucking disemboweled.
Yeah, she got disemboweled. And yeah, the arcs leave. Harley and Ivy stay on Earth, so I imagine that's going to be a book.
Oh yeah.
The arcs leave for space, but because they never stop Superman, of course, goes for the arcs. So John steps out to stop him in a really cool Dragon Ball Z sort of thing where they clash, and that like those seconds bought them enough time for the Green Lantern Corps to finally fucking get their shit together and arrive
and do their goddamn job.
They're terrible in all these. They're terrible in this universe and in the Injustice universe.
Again, talk about stopping off. Oh, we stopped off for space donuts. Was there something going on?
We had to stop. There was a parking violation out by the sun.
Couldn't let that go. That John moment is excellent, too, because it's totally like this juxtaposition of, like, Superman had to kill his father early in this story, and now John fears that he might have to do the same. It's also like, oh, when Superman was a boy, they shot him from his dying planet in a ship, and now John is leaving the ship that is going to save humanity to go back.
Yeah.
And defend it so Earth can live, the last of their kind. And I'm like, ooh, Tom Taylor, you're bringing it all together and making nice little juxtapositions.
Yeah, it's like he knows what he writes and knows these characters and everything.
Even the Amazons, who, the isolationist nation who tried to stay away from the evils of man's world, now sacrificing themselves to give man's world a second chance.
That was a pretty fucking cool scene with, like, zombie Aquaman and his zombie army with the Kraken, and then fucking Green Arrow just killing Aquaman.
Green Arrow all pissed off that Batman didn't have a contingency policy for him, and from beyond the grave, yeah, who's the threat now, motherfucker?
Again, continuing to prove the point that Tom Taylor needs to write a Green Arrow ongoing.
Tell me about it, man. Like, I wish that Green Arrow was that cool all the time.
Like, between this stuff and all the stuff he did with him in Injustice, like, it just proves he understands that character and could write a really fun Green Lantern story. Green Arrow story.
Yeah, he totally gets him. He gets his relationship with Black Canary, who Black Canary does some cool shit this issue, too, where she amplifies her scream through, like, a light construct megaphone.
Yeah, creative use of the powers.
Very.
Yeah.
And, I mean, in the end, they all basically escape to Earth 2.
Yeah, Earth 2. I like that. They called that Earth 2.
Also a nice touch, because what did Tom Taylor write for a long time?
Yeah, Earth 2. Also, I thought it was pretty cool. It was a nice nod to, like, All-Star Superman and stuff, where, like, Superman disappears into the sun, like, and he's, like, eating the sun because he's a zombie now, instead of, like, keeping the sun, like, alive.
It is a nice little juxtaposition. And the idea, too, where it's like, yeah, well, he's just going to freeze out Earth now. The virus will survive.
Yeah,
on
Earth,
sleep.
It'll just sleep.
Yeah. It'll sleep until someone is dumb enough to disturb it, or someone gets back into space.
That's going to happen in, like, the sequel. Like, is Firestorm still around? I can't remember if he was
good question.
So, yeah, something will happen and he'll, like, blow up or something. And, like, the heat...
I'm like, there's your sequel hook.
The heat will, like, fucking thaw out the zombies. Or like, a doomed race will find... Mongol comes to invade Earth without realizing there's a zombie plague.
He's too late.
Yeah.
The atomic skull is running around, but because he runs on nuclear energy.
Yeah.
That's there's a million ways they could do it. And Tom Taylor has that story written in his head where he's like, oh, I really intended this to be a trilogy.
Oh, yeah. And they still got to do stuff with, like, that one shot they had with, like, Dr. Fate and all that, because they're not in this book at all.
No, they're not. So there's definitely places they could go with that one. Man, talk about a story that I wish they would turn into, like, a DC animated movie. Not like the ones now, but like the good ones when they had money to put in it.
Yeah.
Because this is like 6 issues, very straightforward, and like a concept that I think you could sell very easily. The Justice League versus zombies.
Yeah. It'd be such an easy sell. I reckon maybe if that Disney What If show does well with their zombie thing, I think we'll probably see something like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cyborg gets it pretty hard here too, doesn't he?
Oh god, that was such cool death. Where it's just classic Tom King, like giving the heroes like that last bit of like desperation, and like where he realizes like he's been the cure the whole time, and he's like, oh fuck, I got to get to the ship, and just gets his head ripped off.
You want the true cyborg? Life is fleeting, death is eternal. Motherfucker, dude, put that on a shirt. Because because that's some deep-ass shit right there. Put that on my tombstone. Because it would make more sense on a tombstone. But yeah, Deceased was really good and ended very strongly. What a cool book to come out in and around October.
Yeah, and I'm glad as well. Like it got one shot. Like usually with these sorts of things, they kind of go a bit ham with like the tie-ins and like what was this random character doing when Superman was destroying the city and stuff like that. Didn't do any of that.
No, they didn't need to.
Yeah,
it was really solid, and I'm sure when they collect all this in a trade too, it's going to be a good trade. Yeah. Now, did you have anything else? Because that's basically all the big stuff I read. I had Venom this week, but literally nothing happened in Venom this week.
No,
it's the most skippable issue where it's like, hey, and here's stuff that was happening in the background of Absolute Carnage that you probably already figured out anyway.
Yeah, nah, none of that shit. I did the Marvel Zombies Resurrection book.
Oh yeah. They also had a zombie book this week.
Yeah, it's quite fucking cool.
That's
good. So fucking. The Avengers get told by Reed Richards something in space is happening because they got a message from Carol Danvers. They get a grainy picture of what they think is Galactus, and they assume he might be dead. And he was heading to Earth before he stopped, so they have to like get a squad of Avengers and X-Men together, and they're going to go out and kind of deal with the body, find out what happened to him, but also dispose of the body because they can't let the body fall into the hands of like the Brood or the Skrulls, because like that shit be fucking like worth a fair bit.
Right, can't let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah. So they end up going out. They find that he is indeed dead, and they board his body and begin looking around. They do that cool thing. They did it recently. I can't remember which issue it was. It might have been a Doctor Strange issue where they posit the fact that the cells in Galactus change depending on the viewer. So like humans see Galactus as a humanoid, whereas the Chitauri will see him as a giant Chitauri and stuff like that.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and it reads like, oh, this is fascinating. Even in death, this happens, and like, what the hell's going on? So they end up looking around. Wolverine's part of the team, and he's like, something's fucky. Like I smell something that I've smelt before.
Interesting. So this has like no connection to the original Marvel zombie stories. This is like a fresh start.
I think that is because that might be the thing Wolverine smells. It's not outrightly said in this issue, but it might be because he knows apparently about it because of the zombie Spider-Man told main timeline Wolverine or something. I'm not too sure.
The Marvel zombie books got so weird by the end. Like the first one was cool, but then they did like all these weird crossovers and universe hopping, and like they met Ash from the Evil Dead. And it's like, all right, this has been going on for too long.
Yeah, they did all sorts of weird shit. But yeah, they continue through the body, and they find Carol, and she's been turned into a zombie, and not just her, but like whole armies of the like Brood, Skrulls, Kree, the Guardians of the Galaxy. They end up like attacking the team. Magneto gets fucking eviscerated.
Poor guy.
Thor has to go back to get to the ship to like warn Rhodey, who's on the ship, to like blow Galactus. He gets turned into a zombie by Gladiator. All while Reed Richards discovers that at the center of Galactus there's like this pod pulsating thing that has what's his name, Silver Surfer in it. And there's a cool scene where like he like emerges from this pod, and then like his silver skin all like rots off, and he kills Johnny Storm. And so they all get fucked up, and they learn that Galactus was actually hollowed out and turned into a ship for this virus, and the virus was going to head to Earth, and that's what it's doing. So the book ends with like Spider-Man, he's looking after Franklin and Val on Yancey Street, and they're like just talking and everything, and Franklin sees something in space, and it's fucking Galactus who like power bombs the Earth.
That actually does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool.
I wasn't sure what to think about that Marvel zombie thing, because I thought it was like a brand and idea where it's like, well, this is definitely ran out of steam, but it sounds like they actually, no pun intended, breathe some fresh life into it.
Yeah, it's something new.
Definitely.
And they even say that like the zombies that can talk, they're like, it's like, this isn't what you thought, it's something new.
So they're being a little self-aware too. That's fun.
Yeah.
Was that the only other book you had?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. That's a good length for a show so far. As always, because we're doing this one live, we'll hang around for a couple minutes more, so anyone who had any questions or any comments or anything here in the chat, Tevya has been filling the cup all night long, so thank you for that. Anyone else who has any other late donations or anything, feel free to come on in.
Yeah, cup's almost half full. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Gian saying this book is based on ideas from Hickman's Fantastic Four. And really, I
thought
didn't know that.
Because he did like the Marvel zombies in his run. He had like the Fantastic Four.
He did
that with the zombies and that. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. That was ages ago.
It was, as the chat says, it's been a long time. I was in middle school the last time I read a Marvel Zombies book. Yeah, me too, maybe? Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
KT saying, seriously, read Harleen. Maybe I will when it's all done, because I know that Story So Far series where I cover a full book, they've all been basically Marvel-centric, so maybe if I want to do something DC-centric.
I'm kind of sick on Harley. Like, they never seem to do anything new with her.
No, she is very overexposed at the moment. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Any opinion on the new DC timeline being leaked? Was that officially leaked,
like,
or is that
a
just
portion of it does? And everyone's everyone's saying this is going to be the end of DC somehow. Somehow.
I'll wait till it's done.
I'll read
Harleen
if someone pays me to read it.
Well, don't they technically always pay you, Matt, by watching the videos?
But people won't. I'll read it and I'll get like 2 views.
Fair. When it's all done, I might read it all together, because I am trying to save up. I'm saving up Gotham Monsters right now because I want to cover that all in one sitting.
I read the second issue just before we started this. That was a good book.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks like something I would enjoy.
Yeah.
Got a favorite show at the moment. Really enjoyed BoJack Horseman. Man, does that season, because they're doing their final season in 2 halves, holy shit did they end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Without giving too much away, hey, remember this horrible thing the character did really early on in the series that he never thought would come back to bite him in the ass? Well, it's coming back to bite him in the ass now. And they're just like, yep, and that's the end of it. Come back in a couple months to see the finale. And I'm like, God damn, you got me.
Oh, jeez.
What are you watching right now? I know you said you picked up some new shows you were enjoying.
I'm just trying to think of what I am watching at the moment. I mean, I'm watching like the usual like Flashes and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to watch. I've got like a list on like my Netflix and stuff. I'm just trying to like get through. So like stuff like Black Sails and all that.
Oh yeah, I watched the first couple episodes of Black Sails and enjoyed it. Never finished it, but I enjoyed it.
That's the thing. I'm into a couple episodes and then I just like stop for some reason. I'm like, this is a really good fucking show. Why am I just stopping?
Crusader Con asks a good one there. Have you seen Has Been Hotel? Yes, I have. I've been following the development of that pilot for a very long time, and it did not disappoint. I hope they get to make more. Have you heard about Has Been Hotel, Matt?
I think I saw someone talking about it on Twitter. What exactly is it?
It's a really, really cool idea. A bunch of like animators who have been doing YouTube work forever got together, pooled their money, and made a really goddamn impressive pilot for a show.
Okay.
And, like, everything you like is in there. There's musical numbers and swearing, and it takes place in hell. And there's demons and funny jokes and everything else. And it's just basically all these things that no network would ever do. But they're like, yeah, we'll do it on the fucking internet.
No, well, that's cool. I like it when people do that and it actually makes it's funny. It's actually something decent. Because there have been times where that has happened and it's just come off as, like, completely cringy.
It's been a real... But yeah, this one actually sticks the landing, and it looks really friggin' good, too.
Awesome.
Like, really nice, like, if you're just a fan of art. Jesus Christ, Doomsday Clock is still going. Yeah, it is. We talked about that before we started.
And the last issue is definitely coming out either end of November, start of December, because like they like Gary Frank and like Brad Anderson and all those guys have been like posting pictures of it. It's like, look, guys, it does exist. It's been to the printers. I have my comps right here.
DNG saying, wrestling question, are you surprised that Rockstar Spud is more over than EC3 right now in WWE? I think everyone is surprised on that. EC3 has just disappeared from television. I think he's just waiting till he can get fired.
Yeah. Those are words I know. Yeah.
Yeah, those are strung together in a sentence, Matt says.
You throw some shit Blizzard's way.
I mean, what can you really say? They gave an empty apology, and that's like, hey, here's all the games you like, everyone. It's not like we're the company that knows about game addiction more than anyone else, and if we give you these things, you'll shut up and leave us alone for a bit.
That apology was so funny to watch. Like,
boy, was it.
I've never heard a more empty apology.
We did wrong. We won't say how we did wrong, but we did wrong. Here's the trailer for Overwatch 2. Looks exactly like Overwatch 1. Yeah, and we don't know when it's coming out either. It's not like we just threw this together or anything.
Yeah. What was really funny about that apology is, like, I think not long after it, like, Blizzard forced a esports manager to delete a bunch of tweets that he tweeted out in solidarity to Hong Kong. So I'm like, wow, guys, like, you respect every voice.
They sure do, especially when they're Chinese and have money. Also, Diablo 4, which also looked not done. That looked like a sizzle reel.
Oh yeah, no, that was totally like just like they
proof of concept.
They cobbled together a cinematic, a really quick cinematic, and like on the rails gameplay, and just said, yeah, it's coming. We don't know when. Also, it's gonna not have offline play, so it's like, we don't want you to buy this game.
Oops, sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're so sorry. We won't say what we're sorry about, but we're sorry. Got any hype for the Star Wars Jedi game? Yeah, naturally we're going to play it again. I'm so backlogged on other games, but I'm definitely going to get around to playing
I'm backlogged on other games, and it's even worse because Death Stranding comes out this week as we do the show, at the end of this week, and then the week after is Fallen Order.
That's the one blank spot, one of the many blank spots in my nerdity. I never got on the Kojima train, so I don't have to worry about that.
I like his games because they're always really creative and everything. The one thing I fucking hate, and it's being shown right now, is the quote-unquote intellectuals making it more than what it is, and like doing the whole Rick and Morty thing with it, which is even funny because Rick and Morty didn't ad for Death Stranding, which was really funny.
That it really was. I laughed so fucking hard at that because I saw you do the Rick and Morty quote of like, oh, you got to be really intelligent to understand Death Stranding. Then like 15 minutes later, here's the Rick and Morty trailer for Death Stranding.
I'm really excited for that, and I love as well that like the reviews are split in the game where people are like, hey, you just walk and deliver packages as Norman Reedus, and other ones are like, you deliver packages as Norman Reedus. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah, Norman Reedus and his funky fetus.
Yeah.
As Tevye is saying to you, how do you feel about DC Comics replacing their characters in new? I mean, we talked about this before, Tevye. We talk about this. Our thoughts haven't changed, and we don't have any new information to go off of.
No.
Oh yeah, there was that other Mandalorian trailer too. We didn't get to see much different, but yo, Mandalorian looks fucking sick, and we're gonna see it fairly soon.
Next week, man.
Goddamn.
I've been thinking about like maybe doing like a live stream of like me watching the episode, like not showing it on the stream or anything, but like
naturally,
like just watching it and just hanging out with a bunch of people. Been thinking about doing that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm sure people would like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely down for it. People talking about Pokemon. Yes, I have plans to get the new Pokemon this month at some point. I don't know when, because like I said, I am inundated with games. But I definitely want to take that ride at some point. In fact, I was even talking to Matt. I'm like, okay, what version are you getting? Because I'll get the other version so we can trade back and forth.
I don't even know which version I'm getting. Like, I haven't really like been paying attention to like what's the difference between the versions. I think it's just Pokemon, isn't it?
It is, as it always is. Check the wiki. I think, one comes with Tyranitar, one comes with another evolutionary family, etc., etc.
Okay.
That's about it. I'll get Pokemon because I'm a Pokemon shill. Hey, I just became a Switch owner, so I don't care that people aren't happy. Well, I do care that people are unhappy about the amount of Pokemon. I just want to take this ride, damn it. It's been since Gold since I've taken this ride.
Yeah, I haven't played a Pokemon. Yeah, since Gold and Silver. I think that I never hopped on like the Emerald or Sapphire train. Yeah, Gold and Silver. I think like the Game Boy Color was like the last console, like handheld console from Nintendo I owned.
Same. So, that's definitely going to be a cool one for me. Yeah, I mean, I guess that basically does it for us in the show right now. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. As always, it's much appreciated. If you're a patron, you'll get to listen to the audio version of this before anyone else, the video version to follow soon after. Everyone else, it's Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the YouTube channel, and yeah.
Yeah, thanks, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Tevye and others, for the cheers.
Yeah, you're filling that cup up, filling it good, real good. Put it in the cup, put it in the glass. Glass 'em. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. And Matt and myself, we will be back again next week. So until then, Comic Multiverse out.
See ya.